Welcome to Be the Good with Kate, the show where guests leave you inspired to uncover your passions and discover tangible ways to make a difference along the way. I'm your host, Kate Chericello-Tente, and here I talk to individuals who are doing just that. Individuals from all walks of life and industries following their passions and making the world a better place while they do. With guests hailing from Bali to Utah, Florida to Japan, and just about everywhere in between, something I love about human connection and inspiration is how you certainly don't need to be from the same place or a similar background to get so much out of hearing from a person. In fact, I think it is better that way. We notice how we as humans are so similar in so many ways, and how each of us has so much power to make a difference in our own lives and the lives of others. I hope you're inspired here to start, restart, or continue your journey of finding your passions and helping others along the way. I love a text saying, "This made me think of you today." If there is someone in your life who could use today's story, click share and send their way. And thank you for helping to inspire more people. Now onto this week's episode. Let's spread a little more goodness in the world. Welcome back to Be the Good with Kate. And today we are into the medical industry with Danielle Fette. She is the co-founder and president of FetTech LLC. And Danielle's a pioneering leader in regenerative medicine with over 25 years of experience in the medical device industry. With a solid background in nursing, biology, and chemistry, she co-founded FetTech to accelerate the development of advanced, FDA-cleared medical devices that transform healing for patients facing trauma, aesthetic needs, and some of the world's most challenging health conditions. Wow. And if that wasn't enough, Danielle builds sales teams, develops training programs, is a keynote speaker, and advocate for those with dyslexia, and constantly looking for ways to give back. The list goes on, and I am very grateful to former Be the Good with Kate guest Juliette Hahn for connecting us. Danielle, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
Well, you have such a varied and intriguing background, and then something that a subject you don't hear about every day. I mean, I guess unless you're in the medical field. So please tell us more about what exactly is FetTech and this world that you're in.
We invent products that they use in the hospitals to treat people to heal in a natural way. So we're a regenerative medicine company, and regenerative medicine, it's interesting, like aesthetics and beauty. I see that word thrown out quite a bit, but I don't think it's as understood as the scientists that are doing major regenerative research. But it's basically using your body's own biology to signal to your body to repair where there's disease. And I'm all about this because anything that can help patients heal in an all-natural way, I love. Even though I'm trained in medicine, I believe there's a fine line between Eastern and Western medicine. And our bodies are so intelligent, and we're just scratching the surface as to the ability of our bodies to heal themselves. So we invent products that we then contract to other sales teams to introduce into hospitals in a variety of disease states, from wound and trauma and burns to aesthetics for your face. And we're exploring other things like, can you inhale the product and put it in your lungs to help with diseases in the lungs? Or what happens if you inject the heart post-heart attack? So basically the invention is, if there's an injury in your body, it would recognize the injury and signal to your body to heal differently than it normally would. It would call in the stem cells and would basically give the tools and instructions your body would need to repair the injury. And it sounds like Frankenstein medicine, but like in the labs, they're growing tracheas and they're growing body parts, and they're using 3D printing to hopefully the huge donor lists and the people needing organs will be able to get those faster. And so the sky's the limit in regenerative medicine, but we have partnered with Wake Forest, which is one of the biggest hubs in the world for this. And together we're collaborating to really move the needle, to move medicine faster. Because for us, it's really stressful that we believe we may have solutions and it takes really long to bring them to the patients that need it. So we're just trying to shorten the amount of time between research and really applying them for various patients.
I want to break down so much there, but I feel like we should start with, how on earth did you get into this field? I know you have a medical background.
Yes. Well, it wasn't an easy road, because you did mention, like, I'm on the board of dyslexia, and reading and writing is hard for me, but I'm a really curious person and I've always been fascinated with medicine. So really from the time I was little, like blood, vomit, nothing grossed me out. And I've always had this calling to want to help people heal. I just didn't know how I would get, like, I can't go to medical school. I can't take tests. I kind of had to cheat and finagle and talk my way through school. I got into college because I played lacrosse in the first place. Um, but I did major in nursing, biology, and chemistry. Science just came easiest to me and it fascinated me. I didn't like being a floor nurse. So I got into the medical device side of the world where we were educating the OR surgeons on products that they just didn't have access to in medical school. Like they weren't approved yet. And I fell in love with the field, but I didn't really love corporate America. I didn't like not feeling appreciated or supported and dispensable. And all the decisions are made based on the bottom line, like what's going to bring them revenue, what's going to drive stock. And somewhere along the way, I met my husband and I was fascinated with his mind. And I had such mad respect for him. Last person I'd ever thought I'd date or marry. But in a work environment, I had so much respect. He was inventing and developing the products and getting FDA approved that my teams would introduce to the clinicians. Together, we would brainstorm like, wow, if we took this product and we tweaked it like this, how can we help more patients? But corporate America didn't always want to hear our visions because they were very tunnel visioned on like where we can make profit right now. For example, like a nipple reconstruction, post mastectomy. They're like, there's not a lot of money in nipple reconstruction. The nipple's really small. What if we did a huge hernia repair? There's a lot more revenue in that. And I'm like, well, every other company's in that space. Why would we help where there's already solutions, So my husband and I left a company because of behaviors we didn't agree with. And we were like, we're going to start our own company. We're going to do it in ways that we don't take outside funding. We're not going to answer to a board because we want to do things our way for the right reasons. We really care about people. We're all going to be patients one day. And we wanted to cut through the layers of red tape. When you have a corporation, there's so many people involved with making decisions or like a marketing brochure that it takes forever to get anything accomplished. Trading for us because we like to get things done quickly. So we're like, let's do it ourselves and we can invent products quicker and make sure we organize and structure our business so that patients get access to these products faster. And so we formed FetTech about 13 years ago and now we're here talking about it.
Oh my gosh. How do you, I mean, what I want to say is how do you start that? But that's way too open-ended. I know that there's so many complications, but
yeah, so he specializes in tissue engineering. So his whole career, he's worked with tissues and invented technologies for other companies. So there was an evolution of him developing it for other companies where his name, he has a lot of patents in his name. And I'm like, wait a minute, I was like, honestly making like triple the amount of money of him. I'm like, I'm dispensable. I'm in sales and marketing. I'm like, how come you're coming up with all these ideas and not only are you not valued and cherished, but like you're making so little and you're not even able to fully execute your visions the way you want, which is one of the reasons why we decided to do things ourselves so he could really feel fulfilled in life and create whatever he wanted to, however he wanted to.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So he knew all the sides of the business that I didn't. He knew regulatory, how to work with the FDA, how to get patents, how to get them approved through the FDA. And then all the side of the business that he didn't know, I knew. Reimbursement, how to get a product into the hospital, how to introduce it to doctors, how to market it. So together, the two of us could run circles around companies that have 200-300 employees. And that's why we had the confidence to say, we have something special working together. Let's do this.
And also, what a great point about you don't have to know everything as one person. You know your lane and what you're a specialist at or what you're really good at. And then you get other people around you who also, and for you, it worked out great because you're a husband and wife team. But for anybody on a mission, that's just a great reminder of it can be so overwhelming. But I need to figure out the whole picture. It's like, no, there are other people we can bring on. We need that help. We need that team. And it sounds like you guys really had something special where husband and wife and team for business.
We really did. And, we don't have huge egos and we're not afraid to take risks. We failed a lot. I fail every day. I do something. I'm like, gosh, I learned from that. We'll pivot and move forward. But I think that's the biggest thing with people. They're afraid to take a risk, not knowing what the future is going to have in store for them. And it's easier said than done to dive in. And that's just kind of my personality and my husband's personality to dive in. But you don't have to have it all figured out. Nobody does at every level. Like right now, I have a lot of stuff not figured out. But what I have learned is when something excites me, lights me up on fire, I'm usually on the right direction. And if something frightens me or I'm not sure, like to just pause until I feel really excited about my next decision. And also, I've learned that outsourcing is really, really good. If you don't like doing something, I'm not saying there's times I do things I don't like all the time, but you have to get creative, and maybe it's a sign you shouldn't be focusing on that, and you should outsource and ask for help from someone that is either really good or likes an area that you don't.
It's a great reminder for sure. Because I mean, that's what our society is, the stereotype of our world right now, right? Is we take on too much. And there are other people we can reach out to, and we have the internet at our disposal. There are plenty of people. Yes, great reminder. What is something that you're really excited about right now as far as a product goes? That's either, recently to market or just one that you're seeing making a big difference.
I'm super excited about the gel. So our technology comes in different forms. A powder that's used in wound care, and we just got FDA clearance for a gel that we're going to be launching into the aesthetic world to help the skin be healthier and stronger. And not only am I excited selfishly to use this on my own skin, because as we age, like I want my skin, it's our biggest organ in our body. I want it as healthy as possible. But now that we have the gel, we're able to do other research in other therapeutic areas, like injecting it into different body parts when there's injury to see how it could help save maybe the heart, like after a heart attack, or how can we inhale the gel and how will that affect our lungs when there's disease of the lungs or fibrosis, which is scarring of the lungs. So I'm really excited to explore all the different ways now that we have this gel, how we can help various disease states, autoimmune, and we collaborated. We partnered with Wake Forest in North Carolina. They're the regenerative medicine hub of like the world in this space. And they have all this innovative equipment and an incredible medical school, the biggest thought leaders in regenerative medicine. So together we're able to collaborate and use our material, our gel, to see how we can partner with them to do some really exciting projects.
Oh my gosh, my brain is just spinning with just thinking about this whole industry that must just be booming more and more. And thank goodness, because like you said, the access to things and the red tape, it's making, someone without a major medical condition just trying to see a certain doctor with insurance and that red tape. Nevertheless, something major like regenerative care and medicine here, that how does that work even with insurance companies? Like, is that something that you and your husband have to deal with trying to figure out how to get it to patients? Is that something that, going back to, is it outsourced and there's a certain team that does that? Like, how do you get from it's created to getting it to the patients between any kind of red tape or lack thereof?
Yeah. No, that is honestly one of the best questions someone's asked me. And it's really important, not just for my product, but for all products out there, for the audience to know that there are products that could be FDA cleared, approved, like deemed safe, that they work, that don't have reimbursement. So therefore your doctors don't know about them, and they're not being used in the hospital just because of the financial aspect. So I say that because it's really important to take control of your own health. And if you're in a situation, to do your research and ask really good questions, like, why are you choosing this product? Is it the best? Is there anything else out there for me? And, clinicians are humans too. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to do research and think outside the box. I do believe conventional medicine's a little broken right now. So for us, we do have a reimbursement team that tries to get products approved and coded for after we get FDA clearance. Depending on the hospital and the healthcare system, using products inpatient is different than outpatient. So inpatient, when you go to a hospital, and tell me if I'm geeking out or boring everyone, but
no, I love this. So go.
You get admitted. Like, if say you, God forbid, had a heart attack.
Yeah.
When you go to the hospital and get admitted, they write down a code that affiliates with heart attack, and maybe you have diabetes also. And then they do a code for diabetes, and then the hospital gets one flat fee for why you're admitted. Okay, so say that you get 50,000, I'm making up these numbers. Say you get $50,000 for being admitted to the hospital. They don't always want to use expensive products because that will eat out of the bottom line cost of what the hospital is going to be able to have as revenue. However, each day you're in the hospital costs a certain amount of money to them. Maybe it's $1,600, maybe it's $2,000 a day. So if you have a product that can help you either heal or be discharged, treated faster to get out of the hospital, then you can not negotiate, but you can justify using a more expensive product on the inpatient side. On the outpatient side, it's all based on reimbursement codes. So if you don't have a strong reimbursement code for whatever reason, it's not getting used, period. So that there is challenges with getting various codes and a process, and it's frustrating because you would think like if the FDA is approving it, it should be approved for use, but it's not like that. And each insurance company is different. Medicare, Medicaid, you have to apply for it all. And all these factors go into the justification, the cost of a product, because you have to get reimbursement, have certain studies that you didn't need to get FDA clearance. So it's a juggling match, and it can be frustrating because if it was up to me, I'd give all the product for free to help everyone, the nurse and me, but we can't because we have to stay in business.
Is there anything that you would say to someone? Like, I know I get so frustrated about what Western medicine's doing right now. And I mean, I can go on and on about how acupuncture has saved me multiple times and, all of these things and the fitness side and just getting fresh air. But like Western medicine doesn't always acknowledge that. Is there something that you would tell someone of just a way that they can help? Is there something that we as people not even in the industry could make a difference?
Yeah.
Like an organization or something.
Our bodies are so resilient. And think about us as humans. When we walk into a room, we thrive in a certain environment, right? It could be the vibe of the people. It could be the lighting, the music, the smell. There's a lot of different things that make us feel good. There's also a lot of things that would make us feel horrible. And we each have thresholds as to what we can handle, good and bad. There's only so much that each you can handle and I can handle walking into a room before we leave that room and freak out. It could be as drastic as a fire or it could be an annoying person screaming, but we all react differently. Well, I equate that to our cells are the same way. Our cells are really smart and they want to thrive. Our cells are meant to get our bodies cranking and they want to live for a really long time. But put in the wrong environment, they freak out. And that's what disease is. That's what autoimmune is. And it's not one thing. And so therefore, not one pill can fix that. It could be, have you been exposed to mold, heavy metals? Are you eating the wrong foods that are causing inflammation? What kind of medications are you taking? Are you mentally stressed? Are you not getting enough sleep? So there's so many different variables that go into our health that I think people overlook. Feeling good, surrounding yourself in good environments plays a lot into it. Unfortunately, people want an easy fix, but it's consistency and paying attention to a lot of different things. And there's not a simple answer. There's just not. And the more I dive into regenerative medicine and see what makes our cells tick or understand really what's happening with cancer. Cancer takes 10 years to develop. And it's our cells saying, you know what, I don't want to die. So I'm going to grow really fast because I'm in an environment where I can't handle it. And they kind of grow out of control. And then usually it's from inflammatory, which is caused from so many different things. And I don't say this to make, I've had a scare of cancer. My sister had breast cancer. And because I was a patient, these things force you to look outside the box. Like what products are you using? What are you ingesting? And it can be really overwhelming and it can be really scary. But I can say if you just take small steps in the right direction each day and try not to get overwhelmed because it is so overwhelming. The information on the internet, the products available that are good and bad, the ingredient list. But if you just do small, simple things to try to make your cells as happy as possible, you will have better health outcomes. Basically with autoimmune and cancer, it's not your fault. But pay attention to a lot of variables that could be affecting you. Ask yourself, am I drinking enough water? Dehydration is a cause of a lot of problems. Basic things, sleep. How can you take 10 minutes every day, just 10 minutes, and do something that feels good? Whether it's sitting in the corner of your closet or moving around, walking with your dogs or exercising. But I think as humans, we're so drastic about everything. I was. And you have to learn to be sustainable and consistent. Do things that feel good. Surround yourself with people that feel better. Pay attention to how foods make you feel after you eat them. Are they energizing or are they making you tired? And don't jump on the bandwagon so quick of these miracle, like whether it's a powder or something to put on your face or a supplement. Like people like to make money, these companies, and they're feeding social media with like the hottest and best new trend. And it's not one magic thing that makes you healthy or makes you feel good.
And I'm always preaching about whole health. It's beyond, I'm a personal trainer as well. So it's beyond just physical. It's physical, it's mental, it's emotional. And you just hit on all of that there and more. Thank you for saying that. We all need that reminder. And Danielle, before we wrap up, something that caught my attention when I was reading through your Instagram and all of that was the story. It starts really sad and scary, but it ends great, about the little boy whose finger was severed. This was quite a few years ago. And I just thought that was a really incredible story of something that you developed. Would you mind sharing that one?
Sure. I actually use this video. My kids never slam a door. They slammed it once. And there was this little boy that came into the hospital and his finger was severed because his brother slammed the door on his finger. And we were able to use our product and it grew back his finger, nail, everything, and very, very quickly. And kids in general heal faster than adults. But that was just a beautiful example of how we were able to help this individual in a pain-free way of just putting powder, wrapping it up. And that was our first news story we did. It was very, very rewarding. So again,
15 years ago?
This was probably like 15 years ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And just to think now, 15 years have gone by, the amount that you've been able to do since then already.
Yes. Yes. And then with our newer product we did a news story, and this was like a full circle moment. Dr. Tracy Stokes, I actually met my husband through helping her with the patient years ago. And this is how my husband and I decided to build our own company. But she had a patient with a really rare flesh eating disease that we were able to help. So when we got FDA clearance 10 years later with our product, the product we had helped her with years ago was a product my husband developed for another company. So 10 years, 13 years later, we invented our own product, got clearance, and she was the very first person because she understood the technology. I gave her a sample. I said, if you ever have a patient, use it. Let me know what you think because I trust you. And we knew you couldn't hurt her patient, but I wanted her feedback. Like, were we better than the other products on the market? Were we the same? Were we worse? And then the news came to us and said, we heard about your product being used. It's incredible. We want to do a news story. We need a surgeon and a patient. And I was like, oh, we just got FDA clearance. I didn't tell them this, but I'm like, I don't think I have anyone. So we called Dr. Tracy Stokes. I'm like, hey, about 2 months ago, I left you some product. Have you had a chance to use it? And she's like, Danielle, I not only was the patient, but I am the doctor, but I was the patient. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I had a mastectomy. Now, this is what she does for a living. She had a mastectomy and she had a wound that was so bad and all the way down to her implant. And your breast tissue has very little vascularization. So there's poor blood flow. So it's hard to heal. And they were going to take her in for surgical revisions. She's like, I thought to use your powder. And she used it. She took pictures and she's like, I didn't need any extra surgeries. It healed. And oh my God, it was the best feeling. I mean, I was just calling to say, hey, have you used it? And what do you think of it? I never in my wildest dreams thought she used it on herself and it saved her from multiple surgeries. And then we did a news story on her. And that one was just incredible. I mean, she's trained at the most prestigious universities, got into surgery because her mom had breast cancer and other reasons. So that was one of the most rewarding things for us as a company and a huge milestone.
When I shared this on the socials, I'll have to include a link to that story as well. These stories, I'm sure that you must just have so many stories of people you've helped, and that's amazing and so needed. I got chills listening to them. Thank you for what you're doing. And I just can't wait to watch to see what's coming out next. And yes, we need you. We need you so badly and what you and your husband are doing. So thank you.
No, thank you for having me. And thank you for giving me a platform to share.
Oh, my pleasure. And please tell everybody where they can find you online. And this will be in the show notes as well.
Yep. Danielle Fette on Instagram and LinkedIn. And then If you go to FetTech, FetTech.com, that's the parent company. And it's confusing, but there's other companies underneath depending on the diseases we're helping. Like there's a wound care company, aesthetics, viral company. So you can find everything from FetTech page.
Amazing. My mind just is blown listening to you today. Thank you, Danielle.
You're so welcome.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, a 5-star review, like, or comment means the world to me. And if you found insight in this episode, chances are someone else will too. Share with a friend to give them a boost today. Until next time, I'm Kate Chericello-Tente, and this was Be the Good with Kate.